Hey, I got a new question.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, this is an AMA. My passion lies with politics and always has. Should I choose what I love with the possibility on having to fall back on the teacher salary, or should I take the guaranteed good money of an office job that I have no real passion for?
Those aren't your only two options. Don't limit yourself to just two. You could do
Yeah.
one or the other and work on something else in the meantime. It's important to put food on the table and not starve and become a scary version of you. But it's also important to fulfill your life goals and make yourself happy.
Yeah, that's always the weird thing, because every time a YouTuber gets this question, they're like, "Follow your dreams," and I'm like, "Motherfucker, we got lucky." I was like, we were a day off of maybe having a job at Walmart that we're mocking right now.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know?
Where it's
Yeah,
like, well, what you want to do is go to 2005 and open up a channel. Then what you want to do is
50 channels.
Yeah. First of all, you should go to 2005 and domain squat on all the YouTube channels. What was I gonna say? And anytime there's like a celebrity, right, on camera telling you to follow your dream, and it's like, yeah, well, you're the 0.1%. You know, how many people follow their dream and are now serving up fries at Wendy's?
Howard Stern will call him out on that bullshit. Like, someone will say something. He's like, you'd say it's probably like a 1 in a 10 million shot, though, right? Becoming like a professional football player or like they're a rap star or something like that. He's like, you're like a 1 in a 10 million, though, right? You ever sit and like count your blessings about that? And it's like, yeah, he totally. Don't reach for the stars if it's literally the stars you're reaching for. Like, maybe tone it down a little bit.
So
So you
my
don't end up in a
my
car.
Sew
contractor
that into a throw
has
ball.
not my contractor, but a guy that works for my contractor has a son who's a baseball player, and apparently this kid is something special. He's a special baseball player. He's a pitcher, and they're talking about like scholarships and schools he could go to and stuff like that. And like I mentioned UNC, and he's like, nah, there's a couple problems. One, in baseball, because there's so many players, they don't tend to get full scholarships. So you want some, you know, that's a thing. Price matters. And two, he's like at UNC, he wouldn't start all the time. They'd redshirt him, and then they'd put him, you know, like as a freshman, he'd barely play, and he wouldn't really be pitching till his junior and senior year at a school like that. So they're looking at like not elite baseball schools. Yet they still think he's going to be a pro. And it's like, baby, you know, the people that
No,
make it
probably
pro,
not.
they started at UNC. Like, dude, it's such a long shot.
Baseball is one of those sports where if you it seems to me, maybe I'm wrong, but like if they're good at 17, you can usually, the pros were good at 17. Like they were ridiculously talented when they were 17 years old. It's like, it seems like one of those things where like you've either got it or you don't. Not a lot of guys spend 4 years in the minors and then come up and are successful. It just doesn't seem like they
Interesting about baseball to me is it feels like a lot of people make it pro, right? There's like AAA, AA, single A, you know, minor leagues, and then the other stuff probably that I can't think of, and the majors. It's not like basketball where you're either in the NBA or in college. Maybe a dev league, you know, guy here or there makes it. But lots of players who don't have a chance at going pro they're making the majors in baseball can play in the minors. And it's just like, dude, they hire 10 times as many as like football, right? In the NFL, what's the NFL development league? I don't think it exists. Is the European League still even a thing? I don't know.
There's arena football. There's
a
Canadian
Canadian
football.
one.
Yeah, it was like
league.
you have CFL, but that's a whole different game almost.
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, but in baseball, a lot of people go pro who don't end up making the majors.
Also,
But
number
even
of
if you're in
people
the-
per team.
But even the farm league, like AAA, you get paid pretty well. But that said, it's still limited as far as a career option.
You might know better than me. I always hear about how broke they are in the minor leagues, but maybe that's not AAA. But here's a guy who wants to go into politics, and he's always loved that.
What are his qualifications thus far?
He
doesn't
really
say.
likes House of Cards.
It's his
So
passion.
I say
No.
that you finish the series, see how it ends, then pick the career that you want to do.
Well, if you're going to be in politics, that's a really rough background that you need to start laying at an early age. I know someone who's planning on either working on, her goal is to work on a campaign team for a politician. But already, like I don't know, she's been to 3 or 4 universities. She's studied across the country. She's in like multiple honor societies, and she's some sort of fucking laureate. Like she's always going above and beyond, doing all this charity work and all this free time. She's got zero free time. She's doing so much stuff, and she's 22. So if you don't have that kind of passion, the kind where like you have zero time to yourself, and you're going to be the super version of you for like the next 15 years of your life, and then it gets hard, like maybe politics isn't the place to go. Those are rough waters.
I don't even know how to get into politics. Like, what's the entryway? Like, if you were to ask me, Woody, I want to be a senator. How do I start? Well, first become an internet billionaire. That's step one. Step two, run for office. Or, first become a pro athlete. Or first become, well, at the very least, an attorney. And
marry into the Bush family.
Right. Choose your wife. Choose your family carefully. That seems like an important thing. Like it just seems like that's not a job that's even open. My daughter would like to be an ambassador to another country. Well, those are often chosen from people who've donated more than $100,000 to a political campaign.
Yeah.
Over like several campaigns.
There you go, Woody. Get cracking on this.
Yeah, right. I could buy it for her.
It's time to start donating right about now. The next election cycle's coming around. You could make this happen.
Imagine you get it for her and she's not grateful because she wanted like France or Spain, and you're like, you are the ambassador
Portugal.
to Ghana. And it's like,
Bolivia, Dad.
no, I hate getting shots.
You can get the European Union, or this is over.
I used to want to get into politics really, really badly, just because it seemed like I could have like an impact. But Lindsay said that she would leave me if I ever tried.
Really?
Yeah.
I used
that
to
it would just be
daydream about
downhill.
it, but with all the stuff I've said on my YouTube channel, like there's so many campaign attack ads.
This ruined any chance. And
All
anytime
you
I
have to-
fantasize about it, I get like 6 minutes into like what I would do as a politician, and already in my fantasies, I'm already taking bribes and being shit and like doing ridiculous shit, like getting ahead. So I would not be a
That's
good
awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the only person I can think of that was like really, well, not the only, but the main person I can think of that was like a public figure in any capacity that's close to a YouTuber was a guy, Sean Duffy. He was on The Real World, and now he's a congressman. And his story, I think, is kind of the only story that works for YouTubers, because we've said so much shit that you just have to find a point in a country where something like the Tea Party can come about, where everyone's just like really rabid, and that's when you can jump in. So
can
whether
name
the Tea
another
Party
example.
or Hitler, is that what you're gonna go with?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, California's a
good
weird
as
beast.
Hitler.
They were
California's a
rabid
weird beast,
about.
though.
Was it Jerry
Yeah.
Brown? Was he the guy in there at the time? And they like recalled him, which is kind of like impeachment. They said, you know what? I know your term's not done, but we gotta think this through. And they did another vote, and like porn stars were running, and like everybody was running.
Right.
Yeah, and it was just like total chaos and a joke. And Schwarzenegger's running, and he's one of the leading candidates, but he's like smoking pot. He's in his history, right? Smoking pot. There's the actor thing, of course. There's he's comparing weightlifting to sex and all sorts of weird things where like almost like a YouTuber, he's fueled the campaign ads, and silly stuff is like the ICE villain and Batman or whatever. And he's just like, look, I haven't lived my life in an effort to run for politics, but these are my takes on the issues.
So he essentially had our Hulu Plus ad. Good enough.
Yeah.
He
Good
just
enough.
said, like, yeah, all that other stuff, I admit it was silly, but here I am now. And anyone who was like, put this other stuff, it was like, well, no, he answered that.
I didn't think his portrayal of Mr. Freeze was embarrassing.
Really.
I thought it was lackluster.
Oh, it was a terrible performance. I just don't
Left
think
something
it was
to be
embarrassing
desired.
as an actor, but not as a human being. Like, I mean, he should be ashamed that he did that.
Yeah, just
Well,
like-
he was just part of a bum. That's about it.
That was
wasn't
the
the bum.
fucking movie.
the costume
course it
I
was.
thought was silly.
All those
Right.
one-liners.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. But back to this guy, passion with politics, or should he get guaranteed good money of an office job?
Get the good money. You're going to need it for politics.
Yeah.
It's just politics. I feel like he's right there with like pro athlete and, celebrity.
I think it all also depends on age. I feel like that's the best thing about early 20s. Hopefully, as long as you're playing the odds of, I'm going for this, but there is some semblance of a
Backup
of like
plan.
a backup plan or some sort of parachute. If not, but also I'm a guy that jumped into a thing that I didn't make money the first 3.5 years. So I don't know. I would say go for the passion, even if that doesn't end up being your goal. Hopefully, if you do it right, you'll meet the right people, and you'll bounce back somewhere.
That was a very
Yes.
politically correct answer.
I'm
you're-
telling you, man. 2036, I'm going to be president, or not at all. One of the two.
Yeah, money's nice. Like it's there's a
Whoa!
Wait,
head-
tell us more about this.
like there's a stress that comes with living paycheck to paycheck that most people have. There's like I made a video recently talking about choosing a college major, and in it I was like, like there are girls who don't want to date broke guys, and
Yeah, all of them.
yeah, some would say like, oh, I wouldn't want a gold digger anyway. Okay, there are guys that don't want to date fat women. And does that make them horrible? No, it's part of what you're looking for in a mate.
Right. I mean, that's a question though. Is having money the same as a physical attribute? Right? Is it the same as being tall? Right? In the grand scheme of like evolution,
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So
To me,
I mean, that's
it's
the
not
thing.
even a hard question. Yeah,
A lot of people-
having
young
money
me would say
today is just like providing food, 1,000 years ago. Like, I
Yeah,
would like a husband
I
who's
think-
qualified. Go on.
I think that a rich man is attractive for the same reasons that a tall man would have been attractive 1,000 years ago. He'd be better at whacking that other dude with his fucking club or whatever. He's a tall guy. He'll kick some ass. He'll take care of you. He's a provider. The same thing with the guy with a bigger wallet, I suppose. He's someone who can take care of you, provide for you, if that's what you're going for.
So does that make
This
you
is- this
think
is what-
less of one of those girls that would go on a sugar daddy website?
No, absolutely not. No, I would
Okay.
go on if there were a website where I could go where there would be wealthy like cougars who were like good looking and
That's
and
gotta
want to
be
take.
a thing, right?
I would love that. If there's
Sugar boy. Wait, 1 second. I'm gonna register
Don't Google that.
sugarboy.com.
only men have only men have to like go to the extent of making a website to find that.
Don't worry,
Like,
I'll give you-
A woman
I'll
would be
give
too
you,
classy. She would
I'll give
she would
you-
just find it.
All right, 1 second. I'm going to register this, and then I'm going to set up an affiliate program, and you can go to sugarboy.com/PKA.
Let me forward my I'll forward my headshots. Just one moment here. I want to be the first client. Yeah, I would absolutely. I would love that. I would jump at that if there were like some like 50-year-old woman who wanted to take me on some sort of cruise across the Black Sea and use my young supple body. I'd be okay with that.
Sugarboy.com is available.
Get it.
It's $9.99 on GoDaddy.
Take it.
I'll be right back. This is
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like, 1 second. Fuck you.
I'll take it. Get it, Phil. I wouldn't do anything with it. Sugar
It's just going to
boy.
be a picture of my penis. That's all it's going to be.
It needs to be by Saturday.
I want it to be Kyle photoshopped onto a bunch of bodies of ladyboys and very young nubile children.
That's awesome.
So yeah, on this guy, I would try to find some guaranteed good money at a job you don't hate. Like
Yeah.
it's not like it's politics or ditch digging, assuming that's your least favorite job. It could be politics or something else that you kind of like. Do that other
Yeah.
thing.
Do you guys have like a worse job? You probably talked about this at some point. Because I know mine
know if we
was
have.
probably call center. Call center escalation was the worst fucking thing on the planet.
I like that job.
You like that job?
Mm-hmm.
Just for me, I worked. Our call center did several things. It was bank accounts, which people angry about overdraft fees is a rough time because it's just
Mm-hmm.
like people in like terrible situations. And then I worked for AT&T for people in the that had 56K, and so it was just old people really angry about like not. And you just have to like it's 20 minutes of explaining, ma'am. To test it, you have to get off the phone, ma'am. To test it, you have to get off the phone. And it was just, it's bad.
That
times.
is awful. I did tech support for a company that really valued support. They sold it. My customers were typically in IT, and it was an enterprise level, like the heck are the systems that run your entire company? ERP systems. So manufacturing companies would call and they'd have their like tricky problems and stuff. And I would solve it. Sometimes I'd write little bits of code that gave them a report or fix their data. Other times I just teach them how to use the software. And what I liked about it is I often felt like a hero. Like they would call me in some state of crisis, and I'm like, all right, I'm your man. This is what I do. Let's look into this. And I'd, tell them what to type, and they tell me what they're seeing, and I'd get it sorted out for them. So that my experience was that. Like
That's way better.
Yeah, typically I'd hang up the phone feeling like, yeah, they freaking love me. I just like if they're in IT and things aren't going right, someone's blaming them for what's happening, and then I make them a hero, and they are in turn grateful toward me, and I really like that part of the job. Even when I coded, I liked fixing bugs and solving problems as opposed to new stuff sometimes, just because of the gratitude of the people that you served.
I want your experiences, because I feel like I've just been conning my way and tricking everyone through my life. That's my life. I feel like like your story is just like very like majestic sounding, and mine just like scheming and like climbing through sludge.
I guess mine would be when I was 16 or 17. It was like my first real, like I worked at a law office for a while just as like an intern, and I like was convinced that I was going to be able to like really be exposed to shit like that attorneys are, because I was like really into being an attorney back then. And I thought I was going to be like Law and Order, like figuring shit out. Not at all. Not at fucking all. I was just a bitch who made coffee and went and like picked up $5 footlongs and hot and ready pizzas. And if they ever did, like they had me pick up a couple clients a few times, where it was just like, God damn it, I'm not even around. I thought it was going to be criminal law. It was actually like schooling law. So there was no fun. It was all like, hey, these PE teachers can't be running the kids that hard. And it's like, you got me. And like that was it. Nothing of value. And so that was not difficult, but very aggravating, and may have ruined my life, since I have chosen to be an attorney now. Yeah.
I've never done this job, but one that sounds horrifying to me is being a toll booth person. Like, imagine how slowly time passes if you sit 8 hours in a toll booth, and everyone who's next, like everyone that you serve, hates you, right? No one's ever happy paying a toll. So there's nothing but like disgruntled kind of like, here you go, but I feel like highways should be free. There's like carbon monoxide rolling in. The building that you're existing in is small and dirty and yucky, right? They always have like century-old papers thumbtacked to the walls and stuff like that.
Probably slow internet.
Probably slow
There's
internet.
just enough work that you can't sit down and really relax to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like, imagine wanting to watch a TV show and being interrupted every 45 seconds. That's worse than no TV, perhaps. It's just like a toll booth taker is awful. Another thing that I would really hate, while it's not specific, existing in government bureaucracy. Like, you just imagine like a loud HVAC system in a poorly maintained government building that's like 85 years old at this point. You don't make any kind of change. It's bureaucratic. There are people who aren't really same team, right? Like their whole objective is just to obstruct you from doing your job. Backstabby like bullshit. That is like a horrible environment for me that I wouldn't like to work in. So yeah, that's my personal